rest and betray me by sleeping with my dad.
Oh, your wife slept with your father.
Yeah, my wife is such a whore. Okay. We're for those who just dropped in. We're talking about my cat Miley. Everyone jokes about her being my wife because she's so clingy to me. Well, last night she ended up in bed with my dad. Last night, well, over the cover, but it's an electric blanket, so I think she was there for the benefit of the electric blanket, not him. Because that's exactly where she was. I walked in there. She is a little donut right in the middle of the electric blanket. Oh, we got a viewer on, because I know the other viewer is you. Well, we've been 20 minutes already. Well, it's about 6:30, so I guess we should get started here. Hello, everybody. This is Dave on CRPG Dungeons and Dragons Night, and this is another Talking Shop, where we talk about D&D stories from tabletop, CRPGs, other fantasy-related stuff, movies, games, manga, whatever. So I have tonight with me my very first guest on the show. That's not CJ. This is Bookish, who you remember when I had the little visit to the Comic-Con last weekend. She was behind the camera, and her son was along with me. He was the one with my logo over his face. So the plan tonight is we were just going to share some D&D stories from our various campaigns we've been involved with. Not going to get too heavy in the dialogue. You guys can share your stuff too in the chat. That's fine. I'm not going to get picky. And if you have any questions for either of us, let us know. We'll try to do the best as we can. In the meantime, my popcorn is ready, so I better go grab it before we get started. I did say your name was Bookish, right?
Yes, you did.
Because I swear my brain thought I said Bethany, and I'm going like, why would I say Bethany?
I truly am not a Bethany.
Not in the least sense. You are definitely by your true name, though. Which I am not going to say online, so forget about it, guys. Anyway, so we're going to talk about our D&D encounters, IRL. So we'll flip a coin to decide who gets to start first. Yes for me, no for you. This is my yes/no coin, by the way.
Okay.
Looks like I get started. One of my earliest encounters with D&D, I probably said this several times where I never even got to make a character. It was I had made a barbarian character because I'm a huge Conan the Barbarian fan. And unfortunately, I made the character but never got to play him. And this was back in AD&D 2nd edition, I believe. And she knows Bookish knows the person I am talking about. We're not going to share this person's name. We're just going to call them M. And it was... it started off with my best friend, or one of two of my best friends, was playing D&D, and apparently completely forgot that I was ever interested in wanting to play Dungeons & Dragons to begin with. So he mentioned that he was going to be busy like a Saturday night, and they were going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons. And I said, oh, cool. You know, I've always wanted to play Dungeons & Dragons. And it completely floored him because I've talked about wanting to play Dungeons & Dragons for years. So we get there, after, finally convincing him to let me join in on the game. It turned out that it was their session 1/session 0. Everybody else had already made their characters, so I was like a last-minute invite. And, sorry, I'm chewing popcorn. I'm not too loud in your ear, I hope.
No.
So what ended up happening was, we get there, and I show up. You remember where Dee's parents were, right?
Sorry,
Over
I
in
had an
Clovis.
interruption from one of my sons. Yes.
Yeah, his parents were, they lived in Clovis, and then he ended up living right across the street from them for a while. And I think that's where I re-met you at the time.
Yes.
So, anyway, so we get the group together. We're in the living room, and apparently they had been there for about 45 minutes. Everybody already had their characters all set up and everything. So it was just waiting on me to show up. And of course, my main mode of transportation at the time was a 15-speed bicycle, which I never understood why they, named different speeds on my on bicycles, because all pretty much wrong pipe. Trying to kill myself online during a stream. That'd be fun. Anyway, so we get there. He helps me understand how to put the character together and stuff. I think we spent about 30 minutes on it. It didn't take that long because I pretty much knew what I wanted. So we finally get together, and M is going to start out. I think it was supposed to be we were going to be like doing meet cutes with all the characters. As we were going along, we'd have a new character join the party kind of thing. And so it started off with her character, and another character was going to show up at some point. But that never got to happen because apparently he had put like a fight that was pretty much meant for a group of people to fight, and she's by herself. And I guess she didn't understand the point of him saying that other people were going to join in the fight to help her out. And she wasn't getting that. She was of the opinion, well, if this is my fight, I need to win that fight. Which wasn't the point. And so, she came back. Miley just came back in the room. I turned the heater off and gave it to my dad since we have one little heater right now. I gotta get me a new one. Anyway, so she goes and starts this argument. Huge argument with him right in front of everybody. So they go out into the backyard and they're discussing it. And then right after that, I think it was about an hour later, they come back in. But then we find out that his parents are coming back. They were out and about most of the day, and he thought that we were going to have plenty of time to play. And Shaz, he decides that he goes, hey, I have the keys to the rec room over at my apartment complex. We can use that for a few hours since no one's there. And we're like, hey, cool, okay. So we go over to this rec room, and we're getting everything set up in there. And just as we were getting back to where we were before the argument happened, she starts up again. They end up back out. They end up back outside, and the two of them are yelling at each other. And we're looking at this because we can see through a glass window. And she's just laying it in on him about whatever. And that went on for about 2 to 3 hours. And by that time, everybody had to start going home. And I'm just like, well, so much for me playing Dungeons & Dragons. And that was like the worst experience I ever had playing Dungeons & Dragons. And it's not a very good first start. Okay, so I guess it's your turn now.
The first time I actually played Dungeons & Dragons, I was about 10. And it was Dungeons & Dragons, the first edition.
Mm-hmm.
I played a thief. And I don't remember much of the campaign. It was like forgettable because the story and the plot line was not real good. And then the next time I picked it up again, I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
And after 2 sessions, they made me DM. So yeah.
Almost sounds like me when I was 25, because that was the actual time I actually got to play Dungeons & Dragons. I was about maybe I was a little bit older than that. Maybe I was like 28 or 29. And man, it was a first time getting to play it is fun. Not as a DM, I think my very first time was it was the 4th edition starter box or starter set. And it was for one of my stepdaughter's birthdays. I don't remember which one. I think it was the youngest one. She wanted to play it. No, excuse me. It was the middle one because it was in October. She wanted to play it. Which, by the way, her birthday is in a few days, so happy birthday. I'm not going to say your name out loud, but you know who you are. Yeah. Been really cautious about saying names lately because people have been kind of persistent about doxing lately. And I don't want that problem. But I just remember they had a setup for about 4 players, I think it was. And they're pre-made. Most of the starters are usually pre-made. So they just got to pick the character they wanted to play. We sat down and had the maps out and everything. And it was basically me against 4 girls. All about, I think the oldest was 14 at the time. The youngest one was 9. It was an experience.
What's the largest group that you DM'd for? What's the largest group you've ever DM'd for?
10. And I'll never do that again.
Mine was 12, and no, I won't do that again.
Yeah, I limit it at 4 or 6. Usually 6. Occasionally I'll let a couple of guest players in at some point, but that's like short term, and they usually come in. Those other people come in knowing that they're only going to be there short term, which is usually like D or E when they're around. For instance, when I was DMing for the first time, and M was there, because I didn't learn from the first time. But we got together, and we had a party of about 8 at the time, which included 2 stepdaughters, a neighbor, my ex-wife, the manager, M, her boyfriend, and I think I actually got it wrong. Maybe it was 8, not 10. But still, I won't go past that number anymore of going past 8. It was like I won't go past 6. But yeah, it was, and then D and E were there, and the only reason they were there, they were going to be there for the extension of the campaign. But it was mostly so D could be there to help me out, since I'd never DM'd before. Officially DM'd my own campaign. It wasn't something pre-written or anything. So he goes, he comes up with this advice about putting, using my laptop to put player sheets on, and basically there and a few websites to use. So he goes, shows me all this stuff. He goes, now we just need to put the player sheets on there, and it'll update it for you everything as things go along, and and you can keep track of everybody without having to look at their sheets every single time. He goes, but you still have to have the initial sheet to put it in. I said, oh, okay. So we were like 3 sessions in at this point, and D and E joined in on the fourth session, and things were running smoothly at first, right? We were getting together, we were having all the stuff done, and I'm mistaken, this wasn't the one where I had the sit-tins. I think I probably blocked that whole situation out of my mind, because it was that bad of experience. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going, because I only had 8 here. There was one where I had 10. And I can't even remember that one. Must have been that bad. So anyway, she goes, and everybody else M was going to be the last one on there because I kind of figured she was going to give me a hard time. Just something told me she was going to give me a hard time about it. So we have everybody set up. My ex hands me her sheet, done deal. The girls hand me their sheet, done deal. M's husband or boyfriend, I think they were just boyfriend, girlfriend. He gives me his sheet, no hassle. He's actually kind of cool with it. He actually thinks it's a great idea. And then finally, it comes up to her turn, and she refuses. She goes like, "I don't want my stuff on there." What do you mean? Everybody else was fine. Why are you having a hard time with it? And she wouldn't give me an explanation. And then I forgot what was said, but my ex, asked her, "Well, everybody else did this. Why are you having such a hard time with this? It's pretty simple what to do." And she basically yelled at my ex, which we were married at the time. Yelled at her, basically saying to not mind her own, basically telling her to mind her own fucking business. And even though she was the manager of the apartment we were at, I told her, "You need to leave right now." And so she got up and she walked out. And she left her sheet there. So I waited a few minutes. Waited for everything to cool down. Because everybody was all... even her boyfriend, he was upset. Not at us, at her. And so he's outside talking to her. And we decide, you know what? Let's take a look at the sheet. Because she left it right there. So we go over and look at the sheet. She had been cheating the whole time. Basically,
well, when I ran for her, I did run for her before. I ran for a whole year for her. I took her sheet at the end of every session. And every role and everything that she did on her character sheet, I was supervising it. So.
Oh, because you caught her cheating several times, I take it.
Yeah, but I didn't directly call her out and cause confrontation.
Well, the things that she was cheating on was usually gold spending, which she wasn't. She's buying stuff, but not erasing how much she was using. When she used spells or feats or whatever, and they were like a one-time deal or whatever, she wasn't marking it off that she used them. Because I kind of caught her a couple times where she did the same thing twice in a single encounter. And I looked it up and I said, "You're only supposed to be able to use that once. How are you using it twice?" And if I caught her on it, she would go, "Oh, it was a mistake on my part. I'm sorry." She'd apologize and backtrack on it. But then other times, if I didn't catch her on it, So I was kind of suspecting something was up. That's why I brought the other two guys in to kind of help me out and watchdog her. I felt bad for doing that, but at the same time, this is my first time DMing. I don't want to get screwed by anybody while I'm having fun, even if they are a friend from high school.
Now, is this the one you wrote, or was this module?
This was one I wrote. Which, by the way, we never got to finish that campaign. In fact, I don't think we finished... With the particular people that were in that particular group at the time, I don't think we finished a single campaign because it would fall apart after about... everybody reached about level 15. It would start falling apart. For whatever reason.
I think the longest running campaign I did was... 3 years? Maybe 4. All the same people, all the same characters, every weekend.
I think what usually happened to me was it was like we did... It used to be we did once a week, but then I changed it to every other week because I was getting a severe case of burnout doing it once a week. I mean, I didn't mind putting the game together and stuff, but it was like finding the time to do it a lot of the time was the problem.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times it'd be a campaign where it's like we completely lose track of it because everybody would go through everything I'd written up for that week within a matter of minutes. I was sitting there going like, I wrote all this stuff out for us, and it's like you guys just go buzz right through it. I'm like, it bothered me. They kept doing that, would just buzz right through everything. I'm like, oh come on, really? And as I said, we weren't going to have very many people showing up tonight. You're the only one on here right now.
Okay.
So, no worries about crowds.
So, how many campaigns have you written?
I made a total of 6. 3 of them are completed, and that was with a different group entirely. There was no ex-wife, there was no stepdaughters, there was no people from that apartment complex. It was a completely different group. I don't even remember how I got that group. I think it was from when I started going to college for a little bit. And there was a lot of students from there that decided to join in. And of course, I didn't stay in college very long. I think I was there for about 3 years, and about the time I should have been looking at a graduation, which they told me the way I was doing it, I was doing a lot of classes since I didn't have a job, and my grandmother was sponsoring me on it, so I had like 6 classes a semester, and
That's a lot.
yeah, and by the time I was ready to graduate, I find out that a lot of the classes I went through have been updated since then and weren't going to mean anything if I tried to get a job with that criteria, which was I was trying to get a computer science degree. So everything I learned about computers was obsolete by the time I was getting ready to graduate, and they wanted me to come back for another semester.
Did you have enough credits?
Yeah, I was ready to graduate.
They're supposed to stick with your catalog that you started with.
Mm-hmm. But they wanted to add to it. Because I had found out that none of the stuff I learned was going to mean anything in the following year. For instance, one of the classes I took was for Flash. Remember that old drive system? For
Adobe Flash or just Flash?
Flash, which was the animation stuff that you used to see on yeah. That was being shut down the following year. So everything I learned from that course was worthless. And I spent a whole semester on that class, and it was like, yeah. By the time I was getting ready to graduate, the Flash course was completely obsolete. And I just went like, well, that was just a complete waste of my time. I just learned something about a program that no one's going to be using anymore. And there was other stuff like that. There was an engine they were using at one time. I can't think of the name of it anymore, but there was an engine they were using. They don't use it anymore. That was also being shut down that year. So it was like half the courses I took were completely meaningless by the time I was getting ready to graduate. And they decided to just drop that on everybody's lap at the last second. They go, hey, they're no longer using this stuff. I'm going like, and of course, they treated it like they were like those classes never even existed. So now you have to take more classes to replace the ones that were now obsolete. And that was the local college here that did that, and I was just like, no, I ain't doing this again. I just spent three years hard, working my ass off for this, and now you're telling me that all my hard work is for nothing. I just spent all this money on this, and now you're telling me to spend more money on you. So I didn't get to graduate. I've never heard of any college doing that. Well, this class is no longer going to be worth anything, so we're just taking away the points from you before you graduate. I figured they would do something about it after the course was over. After the graduation and the stuff for the next courses.
Yeah.
And not just take away something from you like that.
Okay, so what was the campaign that you've written that you enjoyed most running?
It was kind of a cross between the movie Wizards and Thunder the Barbarian. But it was like, it wasn't Earth, it was like a Earth-like world. Earth-like world that had an apocalypse and all that stuff. And you had, what was it? You had two basic sides, which was like, you had good magic, the healing, and all that stuff on one side. Then you had necromancers and liches on the other. And it was like there was this whole empire, and it was nothing but ruled by liches. And stuff like that. And the first campaign involved characters just kind of having a dream from a what do you call them? What is the largest sized dragon?
A great worm. A great worm.
Yeah, a great worm. Well, this was a gold dragon, but it was one of those types, and he lived inside of a mountain that looked right over a town. And the characters were kind of got an invite by dreams from this dragon to come to see him. And that was how their adventure started off, and they ended up having to go to the other country, basically kind of like a insurgents, trying to get a rebellion going and stuff like that inside that other country with the liches. Which, trust me, it was a very hard thing for them to do.
Oh, people are scared of liches. They can't find their phylacteries, are they?
Yeah. But then the second campaign, which, by the way, the first campaign, they ended up, they did succeed in starting a rebellion. But that was like, by the time it was at the end of their campaign, they succeeded in defeating one lich. So when we started the second campaign, it was a different party of characters and stuff like that. Same players, different party. And they were playing as members of the rebellion. They weren't the insurgents this time, trying to start the rebellion. These are actual rebels in the rebellion. And the campaign went with them for a while. And I think the campaign ended with a great Dracolich, which was It was a nightmare battle. It actually went 2 sessions for that one battle, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
And the third one was kind of the aftermath. I mean, I even allowed characters that normally you would, character types that you normally wouldn't have with a standard D&D group. And I allowed it this time so that you had undead characters trying to be good guys now, because the war's all over and stuff, and they're just trying to find their place in the world. So you had this party of adventurers that had a vampire, there was a revenant, and a couple of other characters in there. I think I forgot how I did it, but I ended up getting the Warforged involved in one of the campaigns.
Mm.
I think he was like this 1,000-year-old Warforged that came from the earlier wars before the liches took over the area and stuff. So those were the 3 campaigns. I could give you full details about them if I had all the notes, but um, I lost most of them when I moved out of the apartment and moved here.
Oh, no, it sounds like you remember the major plot and arc of the storyline and the different things you did.
hmm what's your most memorable campaign that you ran?
There was 2 different ones.
Ooh, I'm all ears.
Okay, okay. So the first one, the party ended up they were hunting a lycanthrope that was killing people, and they hired a hunter that one of the ranger type, so on, and they went through for like a year trying to find this lycanthrope, and it turned out it was one of them in the party, and they've been hunting him the whole time. And all of them died except for the actual lycanthrope until he realized it was him. He was the last one standing and realized he was the one causing all the damage. That's how that campaign ended.
Oh, that's just mean.
I know. The second one was a arch wizard. Uh, these people they were at an inn. They didn't even meet each other. They kind of met each other at the end, but really weren't a party yet. This wizard took them and kidnapped them. And then when they woke up, they were all in children's bodies. And to get their original bodies back, they had to go on a quest to find specific items as children.
Mm.
And then to get adults to listen to them, let them buy weapons, and do all the things that they needed to do was the most difficult part of it.
Yeah. Now, have you played CRPGs of any kind other than online games?
Are you talking about other or tabletops or just
Other
CRPG?
tabletops, computer games, whatever.
Oh my gosh, I've played so many. I've played second edition, third edition D&D. I haven't played fourth or fifth. It's been a while. D20 Modern. I played Mechton, Robotech,
Mm.
Werewolf, Vampire, um, Shadowrun. You remember Shadowrun?
Um, if you look back there at the bottom of the stack right there, I have the 6th World Beginner box for Shadowrun.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the core books yet. I've been working on that though for the
And
more recent edition.
I played all the Final Fantasies.
I'm
Chrono
sorry.
Trigger. Um,
Working on Chrono Trigger.
uh, oh, do you remember Secret of Mana and Secret of Evermore? Those games?
Secret of Mana was my favorite on the SNES.
Yes. Oh, Nintendo. I'm going to go back to Nintendo now. Lufia. Do you remember that one?
Don't think I played that one.
Yeah, there's Lufia 1, Lufia 2. Breath of Fire?
I did play Breath of Fire. Never got far in it though.
I played 1, 2, 3, and 4
Mm.
of those. um,
You aren't a fan,
I,
are you?
I was always in the search of another adventure.
Mm.
Xenogears. The list is long.
Mm.
Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and 3. uh, DDO, Dungeons and Dragons Online. Neverwinter, Ravenloft.
Well,
My list is long. My list is long.
I guess you'll enjoy my channel then of me getting frustrated trying to figure out the games you figured out a long time ago. Because that's basically what my channel is. A lot of I'd say like 90% of the games I'm playing, other than some of the NES games, SNES games, and NES games that I've played on here, the majority of the games I've played are games I've never been able to play or I've played but didn't get very far in. And I'm talking back like way back when. So it's like when Steam started releasing a lot of like the gold box games and stuff like that. Back when I couldn't even afford getting a gold box game. So of course I was always jealous when I go over to D's place. I almost say his name again. I go over to his place and he had like all that D&D stuff on his computer. And I was sitting there going like, where'd you find all this D&D stuff? I've never able to find it anywhere. I didn't know where to look.
He also had a modem, the old-fashioned one, and the one you plugged, you put the receiver.
Oh,
Yeah,
on the
one of those
phone?
modems.
Yeah. He
Yes.
had that before I did. And I was like, I don't miss it. Because you're sitting there, you finally get on something, and then someone calls your house. You're like, God damn it.
So some of the games that I did see you play, I have played before. Some of them I haven't, and it's like some of it looks interesting.
Hmm.
Um, let's
Hmm.
see.
Well, as I was saying before, since we're changing the subject now, uh, some of the games that you haven't played and that I've invited you in because they have multiple players on them,
Hmm.
I have a way to record that one. It won't be a live stream. It would just be a recording, and I can only record in 10-minute intervals because then the sound starts going wonky afterwards. But I have tested it out and it does work. So um, you'll just have to hear me say, okay, stop. I'm turning off the recorder and I'm turning it back on again. Hey Akagaru, how you doing? I'm chit-chatting with my friend Bookish tonight. So
Hello.
feel free to ask us any questions about what we're talking about. We just got done talking about campaigns for the tabletop D&D that we've played over the years. Not much in the line of details, just like best experience, worst experience kind of stuff. I'm sitting here eating popcorn and drinking tea while we're talking, so you're going to hear a lot of crunching going on. So, when it comes to the game, I have a system where I can record it for the time being until I can.
I did not hear you.
Give me just a second. I think I just saw my cat walk by.
Okay.
I gotta make sure she's not causing any problems. She went straight to her food. I have to watch out for her because she's very, very old now, and she just turned 17 back in September, so I gotta keep an eye on her. She's lost a lot of weight and all that, so I'm starting to think she's not long for the world. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the game. But
Yes.
it's a game called Demio, which I tried to do the demo for the Dungeons and Dragons spinoff that they're doing. So I decided to take a look at the original game to see what I thought of it. Oh yeah, 17 is a very long time for a cat. And I've had her since 2010, 2011, and she was already a teenager by the time I had her. And I've said this story about her life so many times, I'm not even going to bother talking about it now. So yeah, I played it, and it's very much a interpretation of a tabletop miniature game. Because even though it just says demo and had nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons in the original game, it very much felt like I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I thought it was pretty cool, and I was hoping maybe you, Bookish, and maybe a couple other people that might have the game join in on it, and we could play a 4-player game of going after monsters and stuff. Um, the only problem I have with it is it's about a 4-year-old game. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's still at almost $40 right now. Because usually by about the 4th year, the price starts to drop down a little bit on Steam. And lately I've noticed there's a few games that are like, there's like one game that's like 6 years old and it's still like $60. And I'm just sitting there going like, these guys must really think highly of their game if they're expecting that much at this time.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to take off the that Lord of the Rings game you had me join with you the other night, and we couldn't record. But
It was too much for your
it was
system?
eating my computer alive.
I'm sorry.
Not your fault. You didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know that was going to happen.
I could have suggested Star Wars.
Oh, I'm not touching
It's a
Star
whole-
Wars for a while. I'm still mad at Disney.
I'm gonna have to take a little break and answer a phone call. I'll be back.
All right, you take care. Really? Call of Duty from 2015 is still $60? And they've had plenty of other games since? Yeah, usually when they start putting in sequels and stuff, you would think the price would kind of start dipping down a little bit. But a lot of these companies, they think so highly of their games lately, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. Game's 10 years old and you're still expecting $60 for it? I mean, if I was going to spend that kind of money, I'd buy the brand new one. Anyways, for anybody that didn't catch that, Bookish had to take a phone call, so she's she's offline for a little bit. Without the DLC, that's even worse. Oh, here, let me look. There we go. Wrong thumbnail. There we am. Give me just a second here. Oh yeah, it's in my hidden. Let's go to start page. Alright. Now, Fallout 4 has been out for a few years now. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, about 10 years. Let's see how much they want for it now. Yeah, give or take 10 years. Give or take a year, yeah. Fallout 4, $19.99. That's a fair price. Now to get all the DLC with it and the Game of Year stuff, yeah. Yeah, the Game of Year, $35.19. To buy all the stuff separately, $39.99. Those are fair prices. Not perfect prices, but those are fair prices. Of course, I would never pay for a season pass for anything. If I'm going to buy something, I'm going to buy something. I don't do the season pass crap. Of course, nowadays they're saying, well, you're not technically buying it, but let's see here. Demio. Spelled Demeo. It's basically demo with an added E to it. Which, by the way, the Dungeons and Dragons spin-off, Demio X Dungeons and Dragons Battle Marked, is available November 20th, and right now they have a demo out. It came out earlier this month, so. And from what I played, it's pretty good. So I decided to try out the original game Demio, just to well, trying it turned out to be $39.99 out of my pocket. But from what I've been playing, it looks well worth about. If GTA 5 was not on sale, it would still be $45. Jeez. Anyway, so I'm
Okay,
sorry if
I'm
I'm being a little
back.
crunchy with the popcorn. I just really wanted popcorn. Oh, you're back?
Yes.
We're talking about Demio here. We were talking about how older games are still holding up the brand new prices on them. You know, like they're brand new, and so they just keep that price. This game came out. Demio came out in. Well, let me go to the store page here. May 6, 2021. So it's about 4 years old. And that's the original game. And Demeo. And apparently this game runs on both PC and VR. Let's see here. They got and apparently there was a sequel game called Battles, but I didn't get it because it's a full-on strategy game with armies, and I'm not very good with those. The I is an E. Miley just went to the bathroom. Correct. Thank you, Bookish.
You're welcome.
So, anyway, let's see here. We got. So yeah, the new one's coming out November 20th, and that's going to be D&D themed. Specifically, they're doing a crossover. But yeah, I played a little bit, especially the tutorial. I did notice that, but I didn't want to get the extra game because it's just going to take up space. But how they set it up is you have a party of 4, which that means you can have up to 4 players if you want to do a group game, and you go on a 3D looking map, kind of like a setup for a miniature campaign. You have your adventures inside. You fight some monsters and stuff, and go to the next floor. And each adventure is about 3 floors, I believe. Yeah, but it's all. That's not the space I'm talking about. It's the space of how much I have on my criteria. It's just going to be sitting there, and it's never going to get played, probably. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of strategy games, so although technically you could call a miniature game a strategy game, but this was more in the lines of Dungeons and Dragons, not a war game. Unfortunately, you don't get to make your own characters. They're pre-made characters, so that's the only downside to it. Yeah. I'm going to turn it on my screen because I can't remember what the character classes they had were. Here we go.
Do you eventually get to make your own characters?
I'm not sure. I didn't get very far in the game. I do know that you can change their outfits after a while. You know, you have to like earn the points in the game to change their outfits. I'm trying to remember what the classes and the characters were, but it's taking forever to load the screen because I got so much going on my computer. So it might be a minute. Sometime today would be nice. It's because I have like 3 different things running at the same time. Not responding. Of course. Close program. Never mind. I think I confused my computer.
It says it's from Forgotten Realms. You have a paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else.
It's about 5 years old. Yeah.
The sorcerer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Here. Let's see.
Ranger and fighter.
Demio. Classes. Are characters. Yeah. Now, Sigrun, the Guardian class, which is basically she's a paladin, from the looks of her. Sorcerer class, played by the character Zedekar. Multhus, a bard. Urak of the barbarian. Kai, the assassin. I think that one's also a female. I'm not quite sure. Eileen, which is the elf hunter, also female. And Oana, the warlock, which is definitely a female, because that's the only one that was recognizably female. The other ones I'm guessing are female just by the sounds of their voices. When I played it last night. Which, by the way, it is a fun game. I just gotta find a good means of recording it. Like I said, I got a means. It's not the best means, but it's a means to play it and record it.
Yeah.
And they're referred to as heroes, not classes or characters. So I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing with D&D. Although it says you can there is a thing on there that says you can modify characters. So I don't know what they mean by that. It's the demo, so probably won't find out till the actual game comes out. You've been very sneaky coming in here, Cap. Because I didn't even see you come in. Yeah, the other thing I thought was kind of interesting was they gave me the soundtrack for the game as a separate item, which I didn't know that was going to be a thing.
Oh, here's a question. Out of all the computer role-playing games you played, what was the best soundtrack you found? Which one had the best soundtrack?
Okay, how do I turn it off? Because nothing popped up, there's nothing on my screen, that's just all of a sudden it's playing. Yeah, I think there's... yeah. I think it's not showing the screen because it never came up. Because I got no screens coming up. I want to shut it off, but nothing's showing me to shut it off. Yeah, it's taking its dear sweet time. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, opening up Task Manager, but yeah, it's like... it's not showing it. Oh, come on, really? It's not even finding it. Oh my god, I've never had this problem before.
You're running too much stuff?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to mute it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright. Oh my god, if I mute it, I mute everything. Yeah, I know. It's not shutting it off. And I can't even get an alternate, I'm left clicking on it and I don't even get that. There we go. Okay, I think I gotta go through Steam to shut it off. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Had to go into Steam to shut it off. I didn't know that was a thing. Everybody still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. I had to go into Steam itself, which, by the way, Steam never even came on. That's the first time I ever had a soundtrack over that before, so that was new to me. I had no idea what to do. Let's see, what time is it? 7:30. We've only been at this for an hour. Anyway, so hold on, I got a piece of popcorn stuck in my teeth. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing my I've had to get back to my other channel. I'm going to be playing Elder Scrolls Arena Saturday and Sunday. And that's for my other channel, Olin Grey Wolf. Links in the description below on YouTube. And have you ever played any?
Sorry.
Have you ever played any of the Elder Scrolls games?
No, that's one of the ones I haven't got into yet.
Oh, well, I started playing that one with the fourth game, and then I ended up playing the fifth game, and of course, everybody remembers the fifth game that's ever played it, so.
No, we met through, what is it? You call them D and then M?
D, M, and E,
Uh,
yeah.
well, I met M at a vocational school, and then we all ended up back in the same town. And then she introduced me to D, and then D introduced me to U
Mm-hmm.
and E. So,
Yeah. So she's actually an old friend of mine, but we're working
it's a
on other
90.
subjects.
What was it, 96?
I
95?
well, it was around the same year that the Star Wars re issues were out in theaters. So I'd say it was around 96, 97, somewhere around there, yeah. When they added all the god awful CGI to the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Which nowadays, when you watch them, they're not as bad as some of the other stuff I've seen. Hell, I've seen, what was it, the Dungeons and Dragons movie? The animation in that was actually worse than what you would see on the PlayStation or PlayStation 2 at the time.
But it was funny.
Oh yeah, you need a good laugh. That's the one you want. I took, I actually paid, I think it was like the first movie I paid for myself, my parents, and my grandmother to go see, and I was working up at the McDonald's at the time. Now here's a fun fact of something I've discovered. The generation that grew up with the original trilogy tended to hate the prequel trilogy. But the people that grew up with the prequel trilogy loved the prequel trilogy. So much so that Hayden Christensen, what was his name? Hayden Christensen? The kid that played Anakin as a young man? Well, whatever his name was. Apparently, he's really popular with the younger generation. Now that they're all adults. He's getting the appreciation I think he deserves. Because it was not his fault that the character was written so poorly. Which would have put you at the right criteria for that. But pretty much everybody agrees that the sequel trilogy all but murdered the Star Wars franchise. Because I think I watched them, and I don't think I've ever seen a single Star Wars movie or TV show since. And it has a lot to do with not just Star Wars, but Marvel as well. They put so much out there. I got like this big case of burnout from it. So I don't care if I ever see another Marvel movie or Star Wars movie ever again.
I've seen all of them, both Star Wars and Marvel.
I'm not holding that against you. The most I would do is I'd probably say I would want a combat-ready lightsaber. Just to say I have one. Now, what color I would go with? Bookish, what do you think? What color would I go with?
Red.
Exactly. I would go full on Dark Force. Not necessarily an evil Sith, but I would be a Sith.
But there's also Ravenites.
Don't know what those are.
They do both. They start off one side or the other, and then go to the other side for a while, and then they find a balance.
Oh.
Like too much, and I've watched too much, I guess.
Oh. Well.
Yeah.
Basically, Grey Jedi is what he's saying, but I kind of get the gist. But I think my main problem was when the novels started coming back, came into style back in the early '90s with the Thrawn trilogy and all that. I read the Thrawn trilogy. I can't remember what the second trilogy was, but after that they started having like all these different story arcs and stuff in different directions, and I had to stop because I just couldn't keep up. But I did enjoy the Thrawn trilogy. And the introduction of Luke Skywalker's, what do you call it? But yeah, it was something that kind of caught my attention, was the fact that Luke Skywalker apparently likes hot chocolate. Which was something that Lando introduced him to from some far-reaching galaxy or something like that. Oh, I have the attention span to read. It's just finding the time to do it that's the problem. And also the fact that I have to wear glasses and they start giving me a headache after about 15-20 minutes. You want to know how old I was when I went back to college? I was 40. Going on 41. And then when I walked into the college room in one of my classes, I felt like an old man. Everybody else was all younger than me, and they were like dressed in the styles of their generation. I'm just sitting there going like, I feel so old. No, what bothered me though was one of my friends. He was the one that talked me into going to college, and he's married, and he's starting to hit on all the girls there. And I'm talking, these are practically kids because they're fresh out of high school, and he's hitting on them constantly and talking about how. Okay, has anybody had a friend like this, where you have that he is such a braggart? Yeah, you told me that. But this guy, he is a friend of mine, but I always take whatever he says with a grain of salt. Anything he says with a grain of salt, because he talks a big talk, but his actions say otherwise. For instance, he's always talking, and I've seen these girls. They don't even bat an eye at him. But he's talking about how all these girls at college are like always fawning over him and stuff. And I'm just sitting there going like, yeah, that's what happened. But he's like, yeah, but I'm married, and I have to go, sorry girls, I'm married. I can't do that with you. And I'm just sitting there going like, that never, in my head I'm going, that never fucking happened. Oh, God. He was taken to the hospital and appropriately afterwards to the loony bin, I hope. But, so, yeah, he was always bragging about that. And I think the one I caught him on the most was he was talking about going to court. Now, if you've watched court shows, movies, or anything like that, there is a certain decorum you're supposed to do when you're in court. Telling the judge his job is not one of them. Ooh, ow, both his feet. Well, at least he went feet first, not head first.
Okay, now I got a curiosity question. He says he's going for an AI engineering. What does that entail? Are you like teaching the computer, the AI? You're making Skynet over there? Chatbots. Okay.
I'm actually getting tired of the popcorn because there's so much of it in this bag. I gotta finish the bag. I'm not gonna waste all this popcorn. Oh God! And you're gonna think me an idiot here because I have no idea what you're talking about. What are chatbots? Oh, okay. Anyway, may I continue with my story, or do you have any more questions?
I don't have any more questions.
Oh, okay. I hope I didn't come off like I was sounding kind of pissed off saying that. I wasn't.
No, continue.
All right.
It was just curiosity.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly legitimate. I don't mind that. Anyway, if you have any other questions, feel free. So the big thing that I caught him on was that court thing where he was talking about. I'm going like, dude, if anybody ever talked to a judge like that, he'd be in contempt. But I didn't say anything. And basically, he was doing and I always notice that the people that are braggarts always use the word buddy in their systems, in their criteria of words they use, and it's in a certain way, and they always do the point of finger when they say it. They go, well, I told that judge, buddy, you're going to do this, 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 and this, because that's your job, judge. And I'm just sitting there going like, you never said that. And his wife was sitting right next to him. She's going like, no, he didn't say any of that. And she was rolling her eyes. So, be right back. It being called. We're going to actually take about a 5-minute break. So,
Okay.
5-10 minute break. So, if you guys need to use the restroom or anything, now's the time to do it.
Dungeons and Dragons will return after these messages.
Your dungeon master has placed you in a dreadfully precarious position.
You're playing the most phenomenal game ever created.
Your skin grows cold from your first glimpse of the enormous beast.
It's a product of your imagination.
Survival depends on a quick, decisive move.
Your choices are limited.
Stand and fight, or run.
Use your lightning bolt.
Victory is yours.
Win the treasure.
TSR Hobbies.
Dungeons and Dragons games.
Products of your imagination.
セガはロールプレイングゲームも変えてしまうファンタシースターかつてない驚異のグラフィック壮大な SF ストーリーその秘密は4メガファンタシースター16ビット6メガセガファンタシースター2目を見張るリアルキャラクターツインスクロールメガドライブ対応未体験ロールプレイングゲームファンタシースター2時を司るのは神か悪魔か一本で4つのエンディングキングオブ RPG 時の継承者 ファンタジースター3」
And now, back to Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, I'm back. But, we'll wait on Bookish. Yeah, he does that like Buddy. The whole pointing finger and Buddy thing. Oh, that drives me crazy. I'm trying to remember. There was a movie where someone did that. Oh, yeah, it was Reservoir Dogs. And it's the part where, I think it was Mr. Orange is telling his, his encounter in the bathroom stall with the police department, where nothing happens or anything, but it's like the dog's barking at him. He's, that story he tells. But what got me was there was that part where it shows the officer, and the officer does the Buddy. And I said, right when he did that, I'm going like, I'm not going to believe a single thing that officer said at that point. Pretty much anybody that does that, I don't believe them once they're telling their story and they do that little, and it's not that they just point, it's like they do a little kind of like a, prep up kind of with their body, like they're stiffening up their body or something before they do the point. He goes, so I told him, Buddy. It's like, oh, hi, Miley. Welcome back. Are you okay?
Did I miss the end of your story?
Oh no, I made mention of a movie. I think it was Reservoir Dogs, where where there's an officer in a background story where he does the buddy thing, And he did it just like every time I've seen someone do that buddy point, it's always the exact same way. No matter who does it, and right when they do that, they're bullshitting you. As I was saying, it's kind of like this a little bit of adjustment of their body as they say it. Because they'll go, so I said to the guy, buddy. It's like, it's the same way. Every single time you see someone, you'll see them do that little buddy part. They're bullshitting at that point because they adjust themselves accordingly, then point. Like they're getting into character. And the guy, this officer, it was like a stall scene where one of the characters is talking about, there's a drug dog waiting out there, and he's got all his drugs on him, and so he's like trying not to panic while he's washing his hands and going to walk past them, but the dog's barking at him, and they're looking at him, but they don't do anything, and he walks out. But when he first goes into the stall, there's these officers in there and the dog. And one of the officers is telling this story, and he goes, so I told the guy, and he adjusts his belt and stuff, and he goes, buddy. Being called again, be just a second. And they laugh at their own jokes every time, like really hard. Yes, definitely. So I'm not the only one that's encountered people like this, or a person like this, or had a friend like this. I use the word friend loosely. Because they may say they're your friend, but they'll turn they'll turn on you the first chance they get to make themselves look good. I've known this from experience. Still there, Bookish?
Yeah.
How much time you got left?
I can stay on for another half hour if you want me to.
For another half hour? That'd be fine. He did steal from me and all kinds of stuff. Well, yeah, I'm not actually sure if he ever stole anything from me, but I did catch him on quite a few lies. Okay. Bear with me for a second. I'm writing down some information for my dad. Because they got him a whole bunch of medications, and a lot of the times he doesn't even know what it is he's taking, so whenever he sees a new thing, he wants me to look it up to find out what it is. So I'm doing that for him while we're talking. But, well, let's get back to... Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, I find out thanks to the internet I'm not the only one that has these issues. Bookish. What was probably the most troublesome, and you don't need to give a name, but your most troublesome player? And what was it they did that was so troublesome for you?
I've had a number of them.
Pick your favorite.
Oh, God. Okay, I had, M, as we discussed. She always argued. And then I had a couple of ones how do I put this? They never went with the plot line and destroyed everything. Literally. Their characters. And, they died several times, made new characters. And every town they went to, it was just total chaos and disaster.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do in the game?
But you're supposed to go along with the plot a little bit.
They can do that?
Oh, yes, they can. What about you?
Well, this is when the first campaign I actually completed. I didn't think it was going to be completed because of how it started off. And it was because Yes, he actually did play in one of my earlier games. And he was the only male in a predominantly all-female playing group, other than myself. And he offended them immediately by, in the middle of the fight, because all of them were rolling low and missing. And when it was his turn, he popped off with the line, "Let a man do the job." And when he did that, I did this. I put my hand. He did not just say that. But yeah, that was like the worst he did during one of the games. Uh, but I would say the funniest event was this was a group that I worked a security job at this particular pawn shop, and it was like a lot of the workers there were players for this game, and he was I forgot what it was. I think he was a rogue. He was a rogue, and he got a hold of himself some explosive chemicals. Now, the point of their quest was they were going to rescue a elf from a imprisonment by orcs. And the room has about 6 orcs in it. There's the 4 of them, and inside the prison is also chained up the elf they're looking for. And he's been beaten up and pretty much tortured the entire time. So, as the rest of the group is planning out their, the order of attack, how they're going to, take care of this situation. He takes one of those jars of explosive chemicals and just chucks it into the room. In which case, pretty much every living thing that was in there got caught on fire and took fire damage. And I forgot to mention one of the other players was a changeling, and the guy's idea, without telling anybody this was his idea, was they were going to, if he accidentally killed the elf that they were supposed to rescue, the changeling was supposed to look like him when they came back. And I'm just sitting there going like, that's not how that works. Considering the guy has his back to him, you don't know what the elf looks like. So unless the changeling actually got a good look at the guy before he turned into him, it's like that plan would not work. He goes, "Oh, I thought he had to touch him." I was like, "No, that's not the T-1000." But he goes, "Well, it was a good idea," and one of the other players goes, "No, it wasn't." He goes, "And when this quest is over, we're going to have a long talk." And they were saying that in character. We're going to have a long talk about your pyromania. Okay, magnesium supplement. Yeah, I'm doing some reading for my dad. But that was probably one of the more memorable ones from my more previous campaigns. There was going to be a 4th campaign, but unfortunately 2020 happened. And we all know how that went. The worst I ever had was I was running a D&D game for 2 women and 1 guy. My buddy that just came from Navy SEAL training, so the 2 girls were creeping on him in the game and being too forward in it. And they were both married. Yikes. And where were the hubbies during this situation? Oh, sorry. I was asking where were the husbands during this situation? Okay. They were drinking in the other room. I didn't seem like they were cared too much. Oh, that's probably why they were drinking. That's just my opinion. There's- One down. Now I gotta look up the other one. So they're in. I've never. Let me guess. They weren't exactly into board games or anything like that. Which always baffles me when you have the wives that are into it, and then you have the guy that isn't into that stuff. That bothers me. When you have gamer girls, but the guys aren't gamers. And I'm just sitting there going, how the hell did that happen? Usually it's the other way around. And my husband's in there playing that stupid game again, instead of playing with my game. Right, so it was potassium. Oh. Ugh. Talk about cars and drink. Now, if I was drinking, I'd be talking about the yoga I took out with my golf club one evening. Alright. Well, I'm done with that now. I just gotta tell them about it later. Okay. I'm the one keeping people out of trouble. Give me a second. I need to take my eyes off. Yeah, usually the groups I was with, Bookish can even tell you about it, that, I was very particular about the friends I had. If they didn't click with the things I was into, then we weren't really friends, they were acquaintances. And even then, my acquaintances were very small in number. Just like the amount of friends I had. I had a very, very, very small group of friends. So any friends that my friends had, a lot of them I didn't even know. So of course when Bookish came into the picture, I do believe that Dee was trying to get you to get with me at some point. And at that time I couldn't make heads or tails out of what anybody's intentions were. over from your friend circle. That would explain it then. But yeah, Bookish could probably tell you more about it than my end of it because I was not very sociable. It was like, and even if there was a large group of people, I would still stay with the very small group of people I was used to being around. I kind of got over that once I started working and stuff. When I opened up a little bit more. But when she first knew me, I was she, as she described it more recently, she said I had a very intense look about myself, which I still don't know what that means, but that's what she said. And she said that that was probably one of the most attractive things about me. Still don't know what that means.
He'll figure it out.
Eventually. Imagine this is a magic 8 ball, and I asked it, is she interested in me? It goes, not now, I'm tired. That's the kind of brain my brain works is like. I think I tried to I think I asked one girl out one time when I was about that age, and it was before I met Bookish. And the response I got shocked everybody because this girl actually flat out said she was interested in me. And I think it was Dee that told me about her, so I went and approached her. Her response was to kick me in the nuts and called me a fag.
Yeah, I kind of got that too.
You're selling me out, man.
He just threw you under the bus, man.
That's what I have the stepdaughters for. One of them actually did do that, push me in front of a bus. That's a long story I'm not going to get into. I forgave her for that years ago, but she periodically brings that up going, I'm sorry for pushing you in front of that bus that one day. I'm going like, you were 4 years old. It's okay. I lived. If I was severely injured and in the hospital for several weeks, I might have held it against you, but the bus didn't hit me. And yes, I've been loosely hitting on her for the past few weeks. And she's fully aware of it.
Yep.
But we're kind of keeping it at a certain level right now. We're just at playful right now. Because both her and I have been in bad relationships beforehand, and we're just pacing ourselves right now. Yeah, we back when she only recently told me that back when we first met each other that she had a crush on me. So I was kind of surprised by that because I don't think anybody's ever told me that ever. So I was kind of taken aback, and then I decided well, if she still maybe has that crush on me, maybe I can at least work on it.
Yes, I do.
So, yeah, we're still working on it, but the only major differences right now is there's a bit of a long 3 to 4 hour drive between where each person lives. Yeah. And that we have, and the first time we've actually been physically around each other was at that Comic-Con. Most of the time we were on the either talking to each other on the internet or over the phone. And I think it was because she had popped up on my recommendations for Facebook is how I saw her again. So, I'm not sure. Was I the one that instigated it this time, or was it you?
You invited me to be a friend, so you instigated it. You instigator.
Yeah, but at the time I didn't know who she was. I just knew she was a friend of Dan's. Okay, I said D's name. His
Uh-huh.
name's Dan. Oh no, I've ruined it for Dan. They're gonna track him down. Okay, he has his own Twitch channel, and the thing is he's like extremely paranoid. Because I mentioned I'm from Fresno and all that stuff. He doesn't want anybody to know where he's from. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he has his own Twitch channel, and he's barely on it, so. But when he is on it, it's like he's like, I went on there and I was talking with him. He goes, "Don't tell anybody anything about where we're from or anything like that." And I'm going like, anybody that knows me pretty much knows my first name and where I'm from. They just don't know the exact location. But with Bookish, it's mostly I'm keeping her details private, and you live nowhere near California. And most of my followers don't even live in California. Most of them are East Coast. Bookish, I don't know if I told you this, but I have followers from Japan and Australia. Some from Europe and mostly Eastern and mid states. Hardly anyone from California or East
Okay.
Coast for that matter. I think the only thing over the closest to us is Hawaii. But yeah, Kakaru here is from Indiana apparently. That's the first time I knew about that. Or he might have mentioned it and I forgot because, I'm usually on here late night, so when people talk to me, I usually forget by the time I wake up the next morning.
That's because you have the Elminsters.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Elminsters. Yeah, I haven't run into his character yet so far. I don't think he's going to be in Darkwalkers Over Moonshade or or the Crystal Shard. Definitely not Black Wizards, but more than likely Spellfire. He'll make an appearance. Because that one's by Ed
Yeah.
Greenwood.
That one's a good one. That's all I'm saying.
Don't tell me anything more. Which, by the
No
way,
spoilers.
no spoilers for me, please. I am going to do. I am going to get back to reading the books for my YouTube channel. I need to get back to them. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and read lately, but I might have a little time this weekend. At some point, maybe even after this stream, I might do some reading. Get at least a chapter or two out of the way before next Monday. What was that? Spider. One of those ones just kind of went like, down here and then started going back up.
Well, it is Halloween. Getting there.
This is true. Favorite holiday. I think I already said it, but there's a certain young lady that I helped raise, and her birthday's going to be in a few days, so happy birthday to her. She asked me not to say her name on the internet.
How old is she going to be?
Hmm?
How old is she going to be?
25, I believe. Maybe 26 or 27. I'm trying to think. No, that would be the youngest one. That would be 25. And she's probably already 25 at this point. So it'd be, she'd be about 27 at this point. Which might explain why she stopped talking to me more recently, because, I still talk like I'm a 12-year-old, so. And she's all mature now. At least they you two lovebirds have fun. Glad you maybe found someone, bro. Thank you, and you take care, Kigaru, and thank you for joining us for a while. We're probably going to be cutting this short in a few minutes anyway, because it's almost 8:30, and she usually has to be in bed by, what was it, 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's a weekend, but her brain still works at that function, so I completely understand that, so I'll probably end up doing something else after the stream. Any last words from you, Bookish?
Take care. Nice talking to you too.
Yeah, this is like the lightest my channel usually gets. Maybe get like 1 or 2 people come on here at the most. It's very rare if I have any number over 5. And even then, it's like not many of them talk. So, let's see. I don't think there's really any much else to discuss tonight, except I think the word's out that you and I are possibly an item in the future.
Yeah.
There's no getting out of that now. It's on the internet. That means it's fact now.
Oh.
I think that's how that works.
You can't believe everything on the internet.
I can't? I can't believe everything on the internet? Really? For true?
Honest and for true.
What have I done with my life all these years? Well, you take care. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. We should do this another time.
Yes.
Maybe even play a game together, something. Because Talking Shop, I only do this like every now and again when I can't when I don't really feel like playing a game a particular night. So I do a Talking Shop instead, where I just pretty much do this, just hang out, and talk about D&D, movies, stuff like that. So, oh, by the way, I'm going to send you the next part of that mini-series I've been sending you. So I'll probably send that to you either later tonight or first thing in the morning. With that all said and done, thank you guys for watching. This is Dave on CRPG Dungeons & Dragons Night. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream, whichever comes first. Bye-bye.